Christmas Eve, 1945, Fayetteville, West Virginia. While the world celebrated peace, a house was being consumed by hellfire. George and Jenny Sodder watched in horror as their home burned, knowing 5 of their children were trapped inside. But when the embers cooled, a terrifying reality emerged. No remains were found. Not a single bone, not a tooth. It was as if 5 human beings had simply glitched out of existence while the world watched them burn. The Sodders were a normal, hard-working family. But weeks before the fire, strange things began to happen. A mysterious man appeared at their door, warning that their house would go up in smoke. Another stranger was seen watching the children as they came home from school, staring with cold, hollow eyes. On the night of the fire, the phone rang. A strange woman's voice laughed on the other end before hanging up. The stage was set for a nightmare that would last for decades. At 1 a.m., Jenny woke up to the sound of a heavy object hitting the roof with a thud, then rolling down. Half an hour later, the smell of smoke filled the air. The house was a tinderbox. George tried to save his children, but his ladder, usually leaning against the house, was missing. He ran to his trucks to drive them closer to the window, but both engines, perfectly fine hours ago, refused to start. It was as if something was intentionally holding him back from saving them. The fire raged for hours, but the fire department didn't arrive until the next morning. When they finally sifted through the ruins, they expected to find the tragic remains of 5 children. Instead, they found nothing. Experts say a house fire, no matter how hot, cannot completely incinerate human bones in such a short time. Crematories need much higher temperatures for much longer. The children didn't burn. They were gone before the first flame even touched the wood. Reports began to flood in. A woman claimed she saw the 5 children peering from a passing car while the house was still burning. Another witness at a hotel said she served them breakfast the next morning, accompanied by men in a car with Florida license plates. They weren't allowed to talk to her. Every lead pointed to a kidnapping, but the police were strangely silent, almost eager to close the case as an accidental fire. Why were they so desperate to move on? 20 years later, a letter arrived with no return address. Inside was a photograph of a young man who looked exactly like Louis, one of the missing boys. On the back, a cryptic message was written, "Louis Sodder. I love Brother Frankie. Lil Boys, a 90132. The parents spent their final years and their entire fortune searching for the boy in the photo, but the trail went cold in Italy. Was it a cruel prank, or Louis reaching out from a life he was forced into? Some say the Sodder case is a glitch in our reality. How can 5 children vanish from a locked house during a fire without leaving a trace of DNA? The missing ladder, the dead truck engines, the cut phone lines, all of it suggests a professional hit or a supernatural intervention. For decades, a billboard stood on that highway with the faces of the 5 children, a haunting reminder that some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, but to remind us how fragile reality is. George and Jenny died without ever knowing the truth. They kept the site of the house as a memorial, never rebuilding, always waiting for a knock on the door that never came. The fire didn't just take their home, it erased their family's future. Today, the mystery remains the most famous unsolved disappearance in American history. 5 souls lost between the flames and the shadows, leaving behind only questions that have no answers in this world. Now I ask you, do you believe the Sodder children perished in that fire despite the lack of remains, Or were they taken by something far more sinister? Could it be possible for people to simply vanish from our reality? Let me know your theories in the comments below.